This video is step-by-step guidance. How to become licensed private hire driver in London. To become a private hire vehicle driver in London, you must be at least 18 years old, but you can't be licensed until you're 21. Have a full DVLA, Northern Ireland, or other European Economic Area state driving license. Have the right to live and work in the UK. Meet the DVLA Group 2 medical standards. Pass a criminal records check from the Disclosure and Barring Service, DBS. Pass mandatory assessments, including a topographical skills assessment, a speaking and listening assessment, a safety, equality and regulatory understanding, SERU, assessment, an English language assessment. Meet character and medical requirements. Provide a photograph of yourself. If you're applying for a new PHV license, book an inspection at one of the 6 inspection centres in London. If you're applying for a private hire operator license, request an application pack by emailing tphoperators@tfl.gov.uk. If you're applying for a first-time PHV license, your vehicle must be zero-emission capable, ZEC, and meet the Euro 6 emissions standard. This video is step-by-step guidance. How to become licensed private hire driver in London. Apply online for a private hire driver license. Our online process makes applying and renewing taxi and private hire licenses quicker and easier. As part of the ongoing modernization of our taxi and private hire licensing service, you can create an online account. This means that if you're a taxi or private hire driver, or applicant, you can apply for or renew an existing license and track its progress during the application process. We process all applications within specific parameters. For existing drivers, applications are processed in order of their license expiry date, to ensure continual licensing wherever possible. New applications are processed in order of the date we receive the application. Applicants for a private hire driver's license will only ever be asked to pay the cost of an application. We do not offer a fast-track service, and will never charge more than the advertised application costs. If you have been approached by a third party offering a fast-track service at an additional cost, this is fraudulent and you should report it to us at tphreport@tfl.gov.uk. Becoming a private hire driver. Applicants must pass mandatory assessments before they can be considered for licensing, including a topographical assessment, English language requirement, and a safety, equality and regulatory awareness assessment. Private hire vehicles, PHVs, are also subject to the congestion charge and ultra-low emission zone. You should familiarize yourself with the licensing requirements before submitting your application. Before you apply, we recommend that you research what becoming and working as a private hire driver entails, taking into account income, hours, outlay costs including purchasing renting a suitable vehicle, additional equipment and the costs of hire and reward insurance, whether your vehicle will be subject to the congestion charge, and the ultra-low emission zone. You may want to speak to existing private hire drivers or your local minicab firm. There are also a number of trade bodies and unions, including, but not limited to, GMB Union, Professional Drivers Branch, App Drivers and Couriers Union, the Licensed Private Hire Car Association. There are licensed operators all across London, offering a variety of services. Once licensed, you can work for any private hire operator licensed in London. In order to be licensed, you will need to meet the following criteria. You must be at least 21 years of age at the time of applying. There is no upper age limit, as long as you meet the other licensing requirements. You must hold a full DVLA, Northern Ireland, or other EEA state driving license that's at least 3 years old. You must have the right to live and work in the UK. If you are a first-time applicant, you must give confirmation that you are aware of the HMRC guidance about your tax obligations. Should you be granted a private hire driver's license, you will be required to register with HMRC to pay any tax that may be due on income you earn from your license trade. However, if you currently hold a taxi or PHV driver's license with TFL or another licensing authority, or have held such a license that ceased to be valid in the last 12 months, you will be required to undergo a tax check as part of your application. to ensure you are registered to pay the appropriate taxes on income you earn from your licensed trade. Please see the HMRC Tax Check section for full details. You must be of good character. To establish this, you will be required to undertake an enhanced criminal records check from DBS through our authorized service provider. You must be medically fit, which means meeting the DVLA Group 2 standards. In most cases, this will mean that you will have to undergo a medical examination with someone who has access to your full medical history. You will need to undertake a topographical skills assessment at one of the TFL driver assessment centers. You will need to pass 2 separate assessments: a speaking and listening assessment and a safety, equality and regulatory understanding (SERU) assessment, which is used to determine your reading and writing skills. Although it is possible to exchange a license from a designated country for a UK or EU EEA license, applicants must have held the UK or EU EEA driving license for at least 3 years. How long a license from a designated country was held for prior to being exchanged is not taken into account in determining the 3-year requirement. Please note, we require that all given names on any official identity documents are displayed on your private hire driver's license. We strongly recommend that all identity documents match. Our expectation is that all official documents have consistent spelling and are in the correct order. This will prevent any queries in regards to your identity during the course of your license or application. DFT Statutory Standards. The Department for Transport, DFT, introduced new statutory standards in July 2020 to enhance passenger safety for taxi and private hire vehicle services. In our Improving Safety for Taxi and PHV Passengers consultation, we set out our proposed changes to taxi and private hire licensing requirements to further improve taxi and private hire passenger safety. TPH Notice 0724 sets out the changes to licensing requirements from the 1st of July, 2024. The changes that apply to private hire drivers are listed below. DBS Update Service. All applicants for a taxi or private hire driver's license must register with and subscribe to the DBS Update Service. We will not be able to grant a license unless you have registered. Once licensed, you must maintain continuous subscription with the update service. Find out how to register and other details on the DBS Update Service page. Licensee self-reporting. PHV drivers granted a license on or after the 1st of July, 2024 must inform us of any arrest and release, charge, caution or conviction within 48 hours. This includes all driving offences resulting in penalty points on your DVLA driving licence. Private hire drivers with a licence granted before the 1st of July, 2024, must notify us of any new convictions and cautions within 21 days, but are strongly encouraged to comply with the 48-hour requirement straight away. Report any arrest and release, charge, caution or conviction, including driving offences, within 48 hours. You can also report by email to TPH licensing support at tfl.gov.uk. Complaint signage. PHV vehicles must display new complaint signage, which will include other information for passengers, including how to make a complaint about taxi and private hire services to us. From the 1st of July, 2025, PHV drivers must ensure that the PHV they are driving has the signage displayed. Overseas criminal checks. The requirements for when a certificate of good conduct, COGC, must be provided have changed. All new and renewing applicants for private hire driver licenses will need to provide a certificate of good conduct, COGC, when they have lived in a country other than the UK for 1 or more continuous periods of 3 months or more in the last 10 years. Periods of extended holiday are included. A COGC from every relevant country declared in the application form will be required to cover any such period. Please download the TPH 205 Living Abroad form and submit this with your application. Contact the licensing team at tphlicensing@tfl.gov.uk if you have any questions or require clarification before you apply. How to apply. If you can meet all of the above criteria and wish to apply, you can start your application by registering online. You will be asked to provide some personal details so we can create an account for you. and allow you to complete your online application or request an application pack. As part of your application, you will need to provide a photograph of yourself. See our guidance on the type of photograph we will accept. Alternatively, please email us at tphlicensing@tfl.gov.uk to request an application pack. Character requirements. You must be of good character. To establish this, you will be required to undertake an enhanced criminal records check from the Disclosure and Barring Service, DBS, through our authorized service provider. Medical requirements. You must be medically fit, which means meeting the DVLA Group 2 medical standards. In most cases, this will mean that you will have to undergo a medical examination with someone who has access to your full medical records. HMRC Tax Check. On the 4th of April, 2022, HMRC introduced new tax checks for all taxi and private hire drivers, as well as PHV operators. As a licensed driver, you should be registered to pay any tax that may be due on income you earn from your licensed trade. You will need to complete a tax check with HMRC using your government.uk government gateway ID and password. You must then obtain a unique 9-character tax check code, which confirms your registration to pay tax. The tax check code will then need to be provided to TFL as part of your application to renew your license. Guidance is available on government.uk to help you complete the tax check. Please note, you will need to ensure that you provide the correct tax check code for the type of license that is being applied for, i.e. a taxi or private hire driver's license. A tax check code is only valid for 120 days from when it is obtained from HMRC. Please bear this in mind when submitting your application. If the code has expired, we will be unable to complete the check and your application will be incomplete. Please ensure that you record the tax check code clearly and correctly on your application form. Should a tax check code be required, but it is not provided, then your application will be deemed to be incomplete. Your application cannot then be fully processed until the required tax check code has been provided and a check undertaken by TFL. Guidance for EU EEA nationals. Please see the document provided for information on the requirements for EU EEA nationals to demonstrate their right to work in the UK. How much will my application cost? Payment can be made via all major credit or debit cards by completing the appropriate section in the application form. Other payment options are available via the Post Office Check and Send service. The table below highlights the typical cost of an application. However, some costs may vary. The application fee is non-refundable. Equal opportunities. Becoming a licensed taxi or private hire driver is open to all. If you're a disabled person and interested in becoming a driver, there are some things to consider. We try to ensure that everyone has an equal opportunity to get through the application and assessment process. However, there are some medical conditions that, for public safety reasons, will mean you can't be licensed, so it's important that you discuss your situation with your GP before you apply. For full information on medical guidelines, please refer to the DVLA Group 2 guidelines. Some licensed taxis and private hire vehicles have modifications that enable people to drive them. Vehicle adaptations include steering wheel ball, hand-operated braking controls, hand-operated accelerator control, reconfigured foot pedal controls, infrared control panel for operating vehicle lights, indicators, and horn. Drivers who use vehicle adaptations will need to be assessed by a medical professional and driver assessor. They will recommend what adaptations are needed and exactly what equipment must be fitted to ensure the driver has full control of the vehicle at all times. The recommended adaptations and equipment must be fitted by an authorized Motability installer. We require documentary evidence that the installer is authorized before you have any equipment fitted or adaptations made to your vehicle. You should first contact our licensing team. Exemptions. We may exempt drivers from certain requirements if we feel it is appropriate. Some requirements apply automatically to an applicant, and some an applicant licensee will have to apply for either when submitting an application or during the life of their license. Wearing a private hire vehicle, PHV, driver badge, All private hire drivers are required to wear their driver badge during private hire duties. There are exemptions from doing so if wearing a badge presents a specific risk. The passenger requests that the driver refrain from wearing a badge. Carrying guide assistance dogs. Taxi and PHV drivers must carry guide, hearing and other assistance dogs accompanying disabled people, without any additional charge. Drivers can ask for an exemption from this, but only on medical grounds. Assisting wheelchair users. If we have designated a taxi or PHV as wheelchair accessible, drivers must provide physical assistance to passengers in wheelchairs, without any additional charge. We can exempt a driver from these duties on medical grounds, or on the grounds that a physical condition makes it impossible or unreasonably difficult for a driver to comply with the duties. Driver assessments. English language requirement and SERU assessment. New approach to assessing ELR. Two separate assessments are used to determine whether an applicant meets the English language requirement. The Safety, Equality and Regulatory Understanding (SERU) assessment will be used to determine an applicant's ability to read and write in English to an appropriate level, as well as to determine their understanding of safety, equality and regulatory matters. A speaking and listening assessment will also be required. This will be undertaken by a secure video or telephone link within TFL premises. Both assessments will need to be passed in order for an applicant to demonstrate that they can communicate in English at an appropriate level. The appropriate level, which is equivalent to level B1, on the Common European Framework of Reference for reading, writing, speaking, and listening, remains the same as before. More information is available on our English language page and our SERU page. Applicants are advised to familiarize themselves with the information on the aforementioned pages before they apply. Topographical skills assessment. Private hire applicants are required to undertake a topographical skills assessment as part of their application. However, the following applicants may be exempt if previously licensed PHV drivers who have passed a TFL topographical skills test, licensed London taxi drivers, all London and suburban, professional London tourists guides, e.g. Blue Badge Driver Guide. On the 1st of February, 2020, the exemption previously given to applicants with a relevant vocational qualification was removed. Please see TPH Notice 0619 for more information. Safeguarding awareness. All applicants are expected to undertake the online Safeguarding Awareness training course prior to undertaking the SERU assessment. This course contains important information on protecting children and vulnerable adults at risk from harm and abuse, which is a topic that is covered within the SERU assessment. More information on the introduction of the Safeguarding Awareness course is available in TPH Notice 1321 and on our Safeguarding Awareness webpage. Convictions and exemptions. Disclosure and barring service check. If you have completed or enhanced disclosure including both barred lists under the Workforce Code of Other in a relevant occupation in the last 4 months, you are exempt for requiring a further check. Medical. Applicants are exempt from completing a medical form as part of their application if they hold a full or provisional DVLA Group 2 license, have an active application with us, have completed our medical and are under the age of 45. Active applicants or existing licensees must have a medical exam if over the age of 45, and the last medical was done more than 3 years ago, or you're subject to providing an age-related medical. Convictions. If you have any of the following convictions, it's unlikely that your application will be successful. Before submitting an application, please consider any conviction for a major violent offense, murder, manslaughter, etc. Whether you have more than one conviction for any offense of a violent nature. If you are still serving a custodial sentence, even if you have been released early on license or the sentence was suspended. If you have been convicted, cautioned, or subjected to any other penalty for a serious sexual offense, rape, indecent assault, trafficking, possession of indecent images, etc. Whether you have been convicted, cautioned, or subjected to any other penalty for more than one sexual offense of any type, irrespective of age. Whether you are listed on either the children's or adults barred list. If you have been convicted, cautioned, or subjected to any other penalty for touting in the last 12 months, or have more than one penalty for touting in the last 5 years. This is not an exhaustive list. Licensing decisions are made on a case-by-case basis. Please read our taxi and private hire driver policy above for further information. Thanks for watching the complete step-by-step guide for how to become London private hire driver. Please like and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching.